In this step-by-step tutorial, I'm going to show you how easy it is to paint this magical moonlit scene using acrylic paints. Hi there, my name is Kim. I'm an artist and my goal is to help people learn to paint in a fun and approachable way. To start off this scene, I've layered my canvas with different colors of paint, starting with black in the top right corner, progressing to dark blue, then light blue, some white in the middle to brighten things up, and then I have pink, some light purple on either side, and ending with dark purple at the very bottom. With my paints laid out like this, I'm using a piece of a kitchen sponge that I cut up, and I'm just lightly dabbing up and down on each color and blending them together nicely. So I'm not pushing the sponge into the canvas and dragging it, I'm just lightly dabbing on top and taking my time to slowly blend the colors together so we can create a beautiful gradient effect. So take your time with this and slowly work your way down the canvas, and you can also grab a new sponge if your sponge gets really dirty or heavy with paint and just start blending from there again. So now that we have the gradient laid out, I'm going to take a brush and with a very light hand, I'm just going to run it in a circular motion anywhere two colors meet. So the reason I'm doing this is I just want to further soften that gradient because I want to create the effect as though there's different colors of clouds meeting in the sky. And so I want it to look very soft and natural where each color meets. While we're at it, I chose this color palette because I wanted to use color in an unexpected way. So these are all colors you would already see in the sky, but I just wanted to brighten them up and also soften them and blend them together so we can create more of a magical effect. Alright, so now that we have our sky, we're going to add in some stars. So I have a medium bristle brush here and I'm just mixing some white with a little bit of water, and I'm going to use a flicking motion to add stars onto the entirety of the canvas. So take this slow. If you add too much water, you might get too much of a splattering effect. So try with a little bit less to start and then you can always build up from there. Okay, now I'm going to add in some fluffy clouds. So using that same white and a medium filbert brush, I'm going to start with light motions where I'm just kind of doing a semicircle or like a C shape, and I'm just going to slowly build out the clouds. So I'm using a very light hand to start just to kind of sketch out where I want the clouds to be, and then I'm going to gradually add more paint to where I want the clouds to be more prominent, and then slowly kind of add less and less paint as I progress downwards so that it's almost like they're dissipating into the background. So that's the kind of effect we want to create. So take this part slow and just build them up as needed. Okay, with that, we're ready for our moon. So I'm using a stencil here I got off Amazon just to make life easier for me. You can do the same, I'll link it down below, but feel free to also just freehand this or use a pencil and you can draw it in as well. But I have that moon stencil, so I'm going to use it as well as a sponge with mostly white, but a tiny bit of yellow as well. And I'm just going to sponge on the shape of the moon in the top right-hand corner there. Moving right along, it's time to add in our whale. I don't trust myself to go in right away and freehand this with black paint, and so I'm using a pencil and I'm going to sketch out the shape of the whale first, and then that way you have a good guideline for where you want to paint, as well as you can always erase any lines that you don't like. Just obviously make sure your paint is completely dry before you do this, and then once you're finished you can fill it in with black paint. One little trick you can use here as well is anywhere where the whale is behind clouds, you can water down your black paint and make a very faint little mark so it almost looks like the clouds are semi-transparent and you can see a little bit of the whale through the cloud. All right, so now I'm just moving on to add in some details to the whale. So I don't want it to just be black. I want it to feel like it's more believable and part of the scene. And so I'm going to add some of the colors from the clouds, especially that pink and purple, just to some of the focal points of the whale, as if it's kind of reflecting off of the whale. All right, so now I'm going to add in some additional fish. I'm using a small liner brush here, but you can use any small brush. And I'm going to add some fish around the whale to complement it. I really like doing things like this for paintings that are meant to be more magical or unnatural, because you kind of make it feel natural in a more believable way. So it's almost like magic realism as opposed to like pure fantasy. You make it seem like, oh, this seems almost normal, where a whale could fly through the sky. Like, it seems natural, as though it's swimming along with the current with the other fish. And so it's just these little details, I feel, that really help bring the painting alive and make it feel very magical. In any case, once you have your fish, I can use that same small brush and I am going to dip it into the white, and I'm going to add in some details now to the whale. So I'm going to add some lines just to bring out the details of the whale, as well as put in the lines of the face and the fins. And then I'm going to go in with the small fish as well and add in some little details and reflection for them as well. All right, so we're just about finished now. I'm gonna go back in with that small liner brush and I'm dipping into the pink as well as the yellow, and I'm just gonna add some extra details in to the sky. So I wanna add some pink stars as well as some yellow stars. Some are just gonna be smaller dots, and others I'm going to make a little bit of a small cross shape to show that they're twinkling. All right, and now is a good time to take a step back from your painting and see what else it needs. For me, I really like going over my clouds one last time. So I have a small filbert brush here and it's fairly dry. It's not very wet at all. And I really like to dip lightly into the white and create more of this like fluffy cloud effect. So I'm gonna go over my clouds one last time and just give them a little bit more depth and dimension. And I'm also gonna use that same light hand with a little bit of white paint and add some highlights to my whale. So really, this is your time to get playful and add in some extra personality to your painting to make it feel like your own. If you had fun painting this magical scene together, then you're gonna love this next art tutorial I have for you on how to paint this full moon scene. So click to watch, and I'll see you there.